Hello everyone, Serenity here. I want to welcome you to a special edition of Down Home Crypto. Now tonight, we're going to take a look behind the curtain, and I'm going to give you a sneak peek of what to expect tomorrow at the launch party for Nexus War. Let's go take a look. Now tonight, I've got some early information about the private run for tomorrow on Nexus War. We're going to take a dry run through. That way, when you get in tomorrow morning, you're prepared, you're ready to go, and you are the first in line. So joining us for this event is Keith, or you may know him as OxVarius or Supreme Commander in my book. So welcome, OxVarius. Nice to have you.
Hello, mentor. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So this is kind of what we're going to run into tomorrow, correct? It's going to look just like we're going to show here?
Yeah, so we're just going to show people, for those who maybe aren't so familiar, we want to show them just how to use it, how to buy their tokens, and just try to solve questions before they're asked.
Perfect. Okay. Now, for those who don't remember, you've got to have the Space Maverick roll to be in that first hour of each private round. So if you haven't got that Space Maverick roll, maybe in the live event, you might be able to sneak one out if you praise the High Commander really helpfully there. But yeah, that's why we put it out constantly to let you know, hey, get in on that whitelist because they get the first hour of all the private rounds.
Yeah. And once the sale starts, there's absolutely nothing we can do because we will lock it in the contract. It is part of the calculation of the allocation. So once that's all set and frozen, I mean, even if you beg me, bribe me, I cannot help you.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's go take a look at this and see what we're up against.
So this is our screen we will be showing tomorrow when we deploy this out to production. You will see this on the main nexuswar.io site. And this will just be the screen leading up to 1800 GMT, which is 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and then you can figure out the other time zones.
Okay, sounds good. So let's walk through these real quick. So we've got an add Nexus token. So let's see what that does here. So if I click that, that actually adds the Nexus token to my MetaMask contract. So I don't have to go in and type in the contract address or any of that, correct?
Correct. It's basically a method of convenience.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and add the token. And then if we go in here and take a look, and sure enough, there's the Nexus token. So that's functioning correctly.
Now, for people wondering why there's no icon there, MetaMask actually aggregates it from very specific dexes. And if it's not on, usually it's actually centralized exchanges. So if it's not on them, until it is, they're going to always populate it with just a, kind of a random symbol. But we do have our symbol nicely on BSC scan, if people saw that news recently. So, that's a little cool detail we think people will appreciate. And it'd be nice if MetaMask read it from there, but they don't. So,
of course, that'd take all the fun out of it. So, okay, so that's good to know. So it is there, easy to add. It does work. So let's go through the process. So start with Connect Wallet, and I'm going to use MetaMask on mine. So I'll connect there.
So we do recommend MetaMask just because with these type of third-party widgets, it's always the one that they seem to put the most attention to. We have tested, extensively some of the other popular ones and hardware wallets through Wallet Connect. They all work fine, but again, general tips, always make sure you're using the latest version, the latest firmware, the latest updates. And if all else fails, just try something like MetaMask or a different browser. But it's all third-party widgets that I'd say 99% of sites use. So it's bound to work for the popular stuff and maybe not so well for the least popular wallets.
Okay, good to know. Absolutely. So let's see, connect account 1, yes, and we're going to go and connect. So now that my wallet's connected and the sale is live, as you can see, there's a timer here. Now this is the first hour we've got for the private round of the Space Mavericks. In that first hour, there's a certain allocation each Space Maverick gets. And then after that hour is concluded, then whatever remains is there for the rest of the Space Mavericks. Is that correct?
That's correct. So you can see your limits in the input box itself. And if you click on Nexus, you'll see your limit. Obviously, we should point out these are test amounts.
Right.
The testnet faucet is very stingy. Doesn't give us much to work with. So we have to put the numbers way down. But all numbers will be the actual numbers we've been telling people that are in our docs for weeks now. So those tiers will be clear. And of course, it's going to be displayed right here where you see that tier 1 box. you're going to see the actual price, which is only a zero off. Like there's only an extra zero on here. So.
Right. Okay. And so, yeah, please understand, guys, this is an example of what you're going to see tomorrow, but this is all running on the testnet to make sure it is working correctly and you guys are prepared with the right information. So when we start this, of course, you have to have your USDC, which is what you're actually going to purchase your Nexus tokens with. And you have to have your BNB to pay for the gas to make sure for those transactions. So get a couple bucks worth of BNB and then get as much USDC as you're ready to purchase with and be ready at the table. So let's keep going through this process here. So now that we've connected our wallet, we have to allow the USDC purchase. That's going to pop up our MetaMask. That's going to give permission to access your USDC. And we're going to confirm that.
And you can see it's a little slow on testnet. Oh, not that bad. Not that slow.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. So now from here, and difference of our buttons, of course, do I want to spend it in USDC or do I want to say, I just want a certain amount of Nexus tokens? Either way is up to you. But remember, everybody out there, if you buy in the private round, 50% of your Nexus tokens are locked and vested until the end of season 1. So if you're doing your calculations to purchase a planet or how many explorations, keep in mind, half of those that are purchased in the private sale are locked until the end of season 1.
So, some people ask, why are we doing that? Well, I still think it's an attractive vesting. A lot of projects do it over a longer period of time, but we do want to protect our liquidity initially. We also, it is a discount in this tier, right? So people are getting in less than the liquidity will be established at. So while they'll be able to sell anything they want, at a profit if they feel like it, we're going to hope they hold, and we're hoping at the very least they have half coming to them after season 1, where we've had a nice, entire season to build up the value of the token. So,
absolutely, and of course it is a deflationary token. So then by the end of season 1, a lot of those are going to get burnt through the gamification process.
That's right. So the supply, we start with this 100 million supply. By the end of season 1, it's possible it's somewhere around, maybe 60 million, maybe 70, maybe 50. It really depends on the engagement with the season itself.
Perfect. Okay. So we're going to go and purchase our allotment of 10 Nexus tokens, and we're going to purchase that. It says it's going to cost 0.00207 test BNB, and we're going to confirm.
So I'd like to point out one thing here that MetaMask still hasn't really fixed. They're working on a few updates to it, but they have had something for years where if you're not eligible to mint for some reason, now our web UI is going to do its best to prevent all those cases, but if for some reason there was something that would not allow your transaction to go through, you're going to see a red notice in MetaMask. You're also going to see an insane gas fee. So if you ever see an insane gas fee, especially on Binance Smart Chain, it is not because gas is that high. It is because it's telling you this is not going to go through. They don't tell you up front about the reasons, although they are going to let us soon start simulating those transactions and be able to do more stuff like that in advance. It's in beta right now, and we've toyed with it, but we found it to be a little bit buggy still. So that's why we're not employing it here. But just to give people that sense, if you see that, it's a very common thing. It means, in this case, I would say you're probably not a space maverick, and maybe you're trying to mint from the contract directly, or you're doing something you shouldn't. It's going to prevent you, so don't waste your gas on it. If the gas is abnormal, it's definitely not going to go through.
Gotcha. Okay, and that's good information, because I don't think a lot of people realize that on the BNB chain. That, yeah, if you're getting a $40, $50 gas fee, something is not right. Don't even try, because it's not going to work, and you're just going to lose a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Okay, so our transaction says it went through. Let's go check our tokens. Okay, so I did receive my Nexus tokens here, but if you saw, I did purchase 10, but my wallet's only showing 5. Now, keep in mind, at the private sale, 50% of those tokens are locked and vested until the end of season 1. So when you do make your purchase in the private round, half of them will go in your wallet, and half will be vested and airdropped at the end of season 1. So do your math and make sure if you're going for a planet or some special amount that you double that allocation when you're making your purchases. Now, something else to keep in mind here is your timers. Now, for the first hour of the private sale, every Space Maverick has a certain allotment that they're allowed to purchase. Now, once this timer hits 0, whatever was not purchased in that private round by all the Space Mavericks That now gets moved to all the rest of the Space Mavericks. If you don't get as much as you would like at the very first hour, that's okay. Be here right after that hour ticks down, and you can get everything that's left on the table. Now, to let you guys know, there's also a very unique feature happening within the back end of Nexus War. Let's say at the end of the allocation, there's 1,000 tokens left on the table for us Space Mavericks to fight over. I want to pick up 800. Keith wants to pick up 500, and we enter our orders at exactly the same time. One of us is going to be a smidgen faster than the other. So let's say I get my 800, but instead of Keith, his transaction failing, he's actually going to get those other 200 and not waste his gas fee. He's not going to waste his time, and he's going to get the last little pieces on the table. So it's great that even if you put in a higher number than what's available, you're not going to miss out entirely. You're going to get whatever's left there, and you're not going to get charged gas for absolutely nothing. So I think that's a really exciting aspect you guys have added.
Yeah, it's actually really simple. It's like 2 lines of code, but it's just one of these little details that's overlooked a lot of times, and we've seen it in projects as soon as they get near the end of their sale, that final portion, especially if there's FOMO and multiple people are trying to grab it. A lot of them, they just end up with a failed transaction, right? Because it's over the allotment and the UI has not refreshed yet because everyone's doing it at that last moment. So it's just something that's simple to do. It still lets it go through. You don't waste money on gas failing. And essentially, you don't have to retry it. And by the time you retry it, well, it's for sure someone else has taken it. So it's not foolproof. If 100 people try to buy in that last minute, some of them are still not going to get any, I'm sure. But it's at least something we could do that's like simple. And I wish more projects would do it personally.
Absolutely. No, it seems like it's one of those aspects that it's really to help the user. And there's so many pieces out there in the world that DeFi projects and stuff, they don't really incorporate those unless it helps the project. So this is one more of those aspects that I personally think shows the amount of care you guys have for the community and to make this the best it possibly could be. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no, everyone's welcome. And thank you all, hopefully, for using it.
Hi, neighbor.
Yeah, I think someone invaded my spaceship. What the hell?
That was good. I had to throw that in. Okay. So now, as far as the daily allocations go, if somebody were to, say, miss out on that first hour, they're not totally missing out, right? Even though they're a Space Maverick, they can still purchase later in the day. Is that going to affect their following days as well?
Yeah, so any Space Maverick can always purchase during the first come, first serve portion. And if they miss their guaranteed allocation window for that day, it's not going to change any of the other days. So picture every day like an independent day. 5 days, 5 planets. The number 5 seems like it's going to come up quite a bit. 5 Nexus spheres. But yes, they're all separate. They're all individual. So if you, for some reason, don't get any on day 1, day 2, day 3, your allocation is still there for day 4 and day 5. And then you still have the ability to purchase whatever's in the leftovers, as long as those last. So effectively, yeah, one day does not affect the other. But the final thing I'm going to add is if there is someone who purchases their allocation in full, whether that's by doing it every single day or once you know the total amount, even if they grab all of that amount, we're going to have a special surprise for you guys airdrop later. So, it's going to be something where if there's 100 and something Space Mavericks, maybe a quarter of them buy their full allocation, maybe half of them. We don't know. But it's very likely that this special surprise, which will be an NFT, which will have some uses in the future, there's probably going to be less than 100 of them that'll ever exist. So that's just a little bonus for the people who want to use their full allocation.
Okay, so that's good to know. So definitely, all you Space Mavericks who've been tuning in, who've been paying attention, get in there, get your allocations, and sounds like you're going to get a very limited, very unique NFT. Now, that NFT, of course, you can't tell us anything more. I've tried, and I couldn't get it out of him.
I can. I'm just not going to.
Okay, that's fair. So, hey, Keith, thank you so much for your time, brother. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to be live. This event launches, and we are ready to start the Nexus War.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have special guests, and we're going to have Serenity, and we're going to have the team. So everyone will be on just casual, having fun watching this rocket to many, many a moon or fail miserably. One of the two.
I don't think it's going to fail miserable. I think it's going to be a pretty smooth launch. I think in any launch, there's going to be a hiccup here and there. That happens. But you know what? That's okay. The fact that you guys and the team and everybody will be here live, we'll see what's going on, and we'll work through it. We'll do it as a community. And sky's the limit, buddy.
Yeah, the best part, right, about being on that live stream during the live sale is we can attend to anybody who might be needing some help and just help them live on the air. And that benefits anyone else who might be watching, who might have the same difficulties, right? So, I think it's going to be fun. And hopefully we'll all be celebrating together after that hour and a bit. So if people haven't figured this out yet, it's impossible to sell out within the first hour unless every single Maverick purchases their full allocation, which is probably not realistic. Like one guy's probably at work or doing something, right?
Right. But somebody's going to be asleep somewhere. You know it's going to happen.
Yeah. So just to mention that, because a lot of people sometimes are like, oh, it didn't sell out in 5 minutes. It's actually not possible here, unless that situation were to occur. So we're expecting that once the hour closes, very shortly after that is when the sellout potential lies. So
perfect. Okay. Well, hey, thank you again so much for your time. And until tomorrow, guys, have a great night. And we'll see you tomorrow at the live party.